And you're welcome back. The timely intervention of the firefighters has saved some GRIDCo pylons from going up in flames in Tema. This happened after a fuel tanker with some 18,500 litres of diesel on board overturned on the N1 near the TT Brothers Junction here within the Greater Accra region. And my colleague Carlos Caloni was at the scene and now reports.
A fuel tanker with registration number GN 1905-16 was heading to Kumasi from Kpong with 18,500 litres of diesel on board. The truck, upon reaching the TT Brothers traffic light, skidded off the road, overturning in the process. Here is an eyewitness, Karim Mohammed, narrating the incident to Joy News.
This is the cause. As she's coming, before you realize, it's just near a pickup, which is there were like 4 or 5 passengers on board. If he tried to hit the pickup, he might cause damage of 7 or 8 cars. So for safety, he just landed and passed through the road foot, which caused this accident. That's all. But the driver and the mate, they are all safe. It was 13,500 litres. 13,500 litres. It's going to Kumasi. He loaded from one of the depot in Tema called Vena. That's all. We are the remaining of the products on board. We are just transferring to the other car for safety.
With the diesel still gushing out at the time of Joy News' arrival at the scene, many passers-by were seen busily scooping the petroleum product, while the owner had arranged for the remainder to be transferred into another tanker. Speaking to Joy News, ADO2 Enoch Isel of the Motorway Fire Station says considering the close proximity of the capsized fuel tanker to the GRIDCo main lines from Akosombo, all efforts were being made to avert any national disaster on the lines.
So at 14:20 hours, we had a call from our master control that there's an accident on the Tema highway near TT Brothers. So immediately at 14:21 hours, myself and my men, we were dispatched to the scene. So we got here at 14:32 as a result of the traffic heading towards Dorinya. So immediately we got to the scene, we got that the accident involved the fuel tanker containing diesel actually. So we tried coordinating the police, and when we got here, the police were already at the scene. So the police assisted us by coordinating the police and sending the standbyers back in order for us to do our work. So currently, we told them to call another tanker in order for them to transfer the diesel that's flowing or that's on the ground or that's leaking actually. So I think the tanker is here as you all can see. So currently they are transferring the diesel into another tanker. So right from there, we need to clear the scene, watch the place and actually clear off all the debris on the road. So currently that's what we are doing. But the casualties that were involved, they've been already taken to the hospital. Yeah, so right from the follow-up, they see their condition. Since we are not the pilots, as you all can see, it could be serious if there is any spark. But that's why we are here, to ensure the safety of the people and also the community. So actually the 2 tenders that are here, one is DPT, of which that one contains water in foam, of which that one can be used for blanketing. And also, the other one behind us is full of water. So actually, we've put in things in measures in order to mitigate any unforeseen circumstances that will happen.
While the owner of the truck is still counting the loss, concerns have been raised by road users about the deplorable state of that portion of the road, which they believe could have led to the accident. Carlos Caloni, Joy News, Katamanso.
Time has come for Ghana to take bold steps in making policies that will allow many more women into decision-making positions. That's according to former director of the Institute of African Studies at the University of Ghana, Professor Techo Ameno, who is now calling on Parliament to pass the Affirmative Action Bill into law before the end of the 8th Parliament. She was speaking in a yet-to-be-aired interview on Personality Profile.
And we've spoken a lot about education, especially at the secondary level, and you make the point that it's important for everybody to go to secondary school. When you look at higher education in this country, what do you want changed?
Well, let me just get to a level before higher education, and that is TVET. I think that the TVET is a very important field. It is underutilized. I think that we should be channeling more scholarships to that level to create many more middle level personnel who can solve many of the practical problems, builders that we have in our society. I'm very passionate about it. And when you look at the enrollments, it's very few. And even the institutions, many people who might want to, they have to go to the district capital or the regional capital to access it. So I would put much more resources in those things. When it comes to higher education, well, on the surface, it looks like we have a proliferation of institutions, and I think that we're going to need to have some conversations in this country. You know, how many institutions do we need? You know, now it's like one region, one university. So we just created 6 new regions. So are we going to create 6 new universities? What will it cost? Do we have the money to equip them sufficiently? So there are all kinds of issues at that level, you know, just even in terms of the institutional thing. And then it's creating some really also very bigoted statements where people feel that because the university is in their region, the head of it must be in their region. They are Ghanaians. They are free to work anywhere. And it should be about who is qualified to do that, not having a son of the soil or a daughter of the soil, whatever those kinds of things mean. I think that we would really have not succeeded if the creation of such institutions breeds parochialism and bigotry and exclusionary practices instead of opening up things for people. There are the issues of quality, you know, content, all kinds of things. And for me, coming from an Institute of African Studies, and very much in terms of what is called decoloniality, the fact that we may have been independent all these years, and yet our systems and structures of thinking have not still evolved very much, so that our ideal, even when it comes to knowledge, is still about Western modes of knowing and learning. I think that those are important issues that we do need to interrogate. So there are several issues for us. There's the question of financing, all of those kinds of issues, you know. And in the recent past, there have been attempts by government to assert greater control over universities, and then you're asking yourself, is this the direction that we want to go? You know, so there are many issues and questions that we do need to talk about. If you look at the regions in West Africa, I think apart from Central Africa and maybe the North African region, we really are at bottom, you know. Senegal has a gender parity law, which is interesting. Do you see? So it's not about religion. It's not. It's about state policy. It's about intention. So in West Africa, apart from Senegal, Cape Verde, and remarkably Togo is making a lot of progress. The same way, we tend to look down on people or countries. We think, oh, this is a small country. But when you look at the statistics, you find that it's different. But what generally, most of those other countries that have achieved progress, they've done it through quota systems, they've done it through proportional representation. And you know that here the political parties have fiercely resisted any talk of, you know, reserving seats for women, etc. But we're going to. In any case, when the affirmative action law is passed, and that is one of the reasons why it has stalled. It hasn't just stalled, you know. It does make demands of, you know. So in Kenya, for instance, you cannot nominate people to any position, like say the courts, without a certain proportion being of either sex. So you cannot have an all-women slate, you cannot have an all-men slate, etc. It recognizes that you need both for, you know, work to happen. So when the affirmative action bill is passed, it will oblige political parties, you know, different sectors of society to do more about this really lopsided. You're talking about parliament. What about district assemblies? We have this. These are the basic units of governance. And over time, the proportions have gone down. Even the appointed members, we're not meeting our quotas. So we do need to do more.